I don't mind this thing revving high, but I need it to pull on the bottom end because I'm really trying to get grunt out of a 50cc. But that's why I want to go with the pop-up, because I want to keep the transfer duration low and I want to get the compression up. For an instance, stock plug here, another one I got from Walmart. See how much it sticks out into the cylinder, into the combustion chamber? Not much. The electrode is fully down. So if you put this all the way up with minimal squish, the first thing it touches is a spark plug. Now with the pop-up, you open up that whole space. Once the pop-up is there, it gets super close to the actual electrode. Now, if I take this off, look how much less that is. Also, just because happen chance where the threads are, the electrode is now towards the bottom. You can go all the way down in there before it hits it. Much better. All the way over here before I touch. I want it to be a certain far in so that the pop-up would be closest to this without touching it. So that's where I came up with the circumference of my pop-up. Now it's not exact. I am actually trying to go in slightly farther, but because of the amount of work it was taking, I just wanted to stop and get the number I wanted for measurement on durations. This does not have a squish band. The squish band is technically part of the head is like flat, where the piston would squish against the head. This does not have it. This has a completely flat piston. There is no squish band. So the squish band on this is literally, see that tapered part, and like just the, what is it, however thick that tapered part is to the actual head. It's only, 2 millimeters. So there isn't really any squish band on this to speak of, so to speak. Well, that makes no sense, but there isn't. We'll have to deck this a good amount. So to get the squish right, we still have to have it like about that far out of the bore just for it to get proper squish. Now we want to raise the compression, so we're going to be about there. That's why I need the spark plug to not be where it is. This whole thing will be chewed out and we'll raise the compression. The only way we could do that is we can't actually stretch the connecting rod, so the only way we could do that is by bringing the head closer. We got to bring the head closer to the piston, which means we're going to have to take this down quite a bit, and we'll take the majority of this ring out to get it a nice full and complete squish, and that's what we're going to shoot for. My mind has been made up. The 6 hours of sanding down that stupid thing yesterday was useless, but needed to know what I wanted to do exactly, because I can't visualize everything. I have to see it with my own eyes, but I really like the idea of this pop-up, and then we'll worry about the compression. Alright guys, let's get after it. We're going to start on the pop-up first. Figure I'll bring you in and show you exactly how I'm doing it. You can see I went off a little bit there, but for the most part, I think we're doing good. Now it's just about making it all level. Well, that's how I'm doing it. I'll bring you back in when I'm closer to done. Okay guys, hope you can pick up on this. How's it look? We're not totally done, but I think we're done cutting the pop-up. I think the next step is going to be to file it, so I can cut a sharper edge and keep it as level as possible, because the file is going to be straighter than that rotating disc. If I leave the tape on, it keeps me from going down a lot more. It wasn't easy to do, but it wasn't crazy hard to do. Of course, I'm not done yet. The lathe would have been much easier. Just want to show you how it looks. The Dremel, I use the bigger file, then I use this little file to make sure I cut a nice sharp edge in there. Top. This is what it looks like in the cylinder. See how it's domed now? The middle is the original height. We bring the top of the cylinder down. You want it below that edge right there. So we bring the cylinder down, probably to somewhere around here. Okay, this is just ballparks, so that the piston goes up into the head. It might even be down here, all the way to the fin. I don't know yet, we gotta see. We'll start measuring that all up when we start figuring this out, because I want it to go up. I want the piston to come about that far into the cylinder, to the head, right there. Because that's why I'm gonna run the shorter plug, but that pop-up, this part, it's called pop-up, will go into the cylinder about this far, or into the head about this far, which raises your compression up a good little bit. I took my numbers with the pop-up. 142 duration exhaust. Transfers are 119 duration. Intake is 124. blowdown of 12 degrees. So I would like to get a blowdown of 21 degrees, 20 to 21. Shoot for 21. So my intake, I think I'll bring up to 130, 6 degrees. Intake duration, I gotta raise it. So I gotta lower 3 degrees, which isn't much, it's a millimeter. And then we'll widen it out a bit. Exhaust, if I got right now a 119 transfer duration, okay? And I'm shooting for 21 degrees. So 21 and 21 is 42. Add 42 to my transfers of 119. That means I need an exhaust duration of 161. And that's before we start worrying about the squish. That's a whole nother beast. So right now I gotta bring the exhaust, I gotta bring up to 161, which would mean I need it to open at 140. And that's if I don't change the transfers, but I am going to open them up, get away the casting flaws, and the one is slightly lower than the other, so I'm going to do my best to level it off and do my best to not screw up the walls, because I'm notorious for that. But all in all, I am going to try to get the transfers to stay at 119, 120, exhaust of 160, intake of 130, blowdown of 21. Blowdown is going to be somewhere between 20 and 22. That's why I say 21. So that's our goals. So now we know what we need to hit. I'm going to start marking the cylinder off and get the ports in the duration I need them. This is all R&D for me to know what I can and can't do and what I can and can't get away with my hands, because they sell pop-up pistons for the chainsaws, they don't for the bikes. But if I can do it myself, I'll just do it myself. It's cheaper to do it yourself because you buy it, it costs more money. This is the first one I did for the R&D, and this is what we have now. So R&D, final product. I think it came out looking great. Right there, guys. How's that? Good? Good for you? Good. I can't see anything, but I guess we'll just leave you there, huh? For the rest, I'm pretty much gonna have to hold it in my hands so I can get the exact angles and stuff, so it's gonna be hard for me to keep you guys on for that, but I figured this was a pretty good view, right? This is the intake that we're doing now. I just took it down to the lowest spot, and then I'm gonna fix it and shape it properly. This is the rough on the exhaust. I still obviously do not have it done. I don't know if you guys can see it good, I hope so. But it looks half decent-ish. I like the shape of it. All in all, I think it looks pretty good. See that lip in there? I really want to get that lip out of there. That's really all I want to do, and then I got a case match and stuff. So I did this one already. You can see the lip is completely gone. I just got to put a chamfer on everything. I'm not really so worried about the gnarly lookingness in there, like how it's like rough looking. There's nothing obstructing it, but that roughness should scavenge it into the intake or the combustion chamber better. So you see that lip. It's harder to show really, honestly, but I think you could see it in there. And there you go. And I still gotta port match it to the case and all that. So I'm not even done with the cylinder even after I get done with it here. But for the most part, I'm close. I just gotta do the other transfer, and then it's really just what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and thank you for tuning in. It is gonna be a good day. Why? I'll tell you why. Because I haven't worked on this thing in about 2, 2, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, at least a couple days. So reason is for me to know and you never to find out. No, basically, just had a lot going on, man. Crazy amount of stuff going on. Had some good things happen. Had some really horrible things happen. You know, is what it is. What can you do? Last thing I did was opened up the transfers. And also, look in there. Can you see that well? Can you see in there? You see those lines? I know it looks rough. I'm actually gonna try it like this ones. I made lines that literally go like this down the wall, and then but they go at an angle towards the intake. All right, well, come on, I'm trying to record here. What they do is they literally go like, they're just like tiny channels that go down the transfer wall and point to the intake. There's 3 of them. They point towards the intake because I don't want the stuff going immediately out the exhaust. Obvious reasons. Anyone that knows these motors, which probably all of you know more than I do, will completely understand that. Now, I haven't done final port work, which I do have to do, meaning I haven't sanded down the exhaust and made it smooth. I haven't tapered the edges, and I haven't smoothed out the intake, which I don't think I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna leave it burly, which is not bad. Like that's just plain raw cut. Can you see it? Can you see the lighting and stuff? I hope it's good enough, but that's what I did for the intake. It's from the carbide burr. That's how I left it, guys. Not sure how much you could see from me doing this, but this is how I deck the cylinder if I gotta deck it a lot. Not sure how well you can see it, but I go this way for a while, and because this is less material here and here, when you go this way, because this will obviously go down faster than here or here, that's why you see me turn on the side. But even as I'm going over it like this, I can feel this go like this slightly. So what I do, just so I can stay basically level, I do this. Up against the exhaust, up against the corner of the intake. And now remember, I was going like this, so now I go like this. And what that does is it keeps me on this one and brings these down easily and brings me to this. And once I get to this, I'll start, watch, I'll show you. Pushing on it hard, pushing on it hard, pushing on it hard. You don't see any, you see it here, these are high spots. A little here, here, still nothing here, nothing here. And I'm pushing hard. Still nothing. Just starting to, but I was also pushing really hard here in the middle, and what that can do is I can actually bow it, even though these are really hard to break. I did break it here though. But they are hard to break, but it will bow when you're pushing down, and it might take that contour. That's why I really try not to. I try to keep the pressure like this evenly and not push down with my hand. If I do, I push like this, just even pressure flat, and I use the handle to move it back and forth. And I go from corner to corner, and I try to constantly, every time I turn 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. So I constantly wear down this corner, wear down that corner, wear down that corner, and wear down that corner. So forth and so on, until I get it to where I want it to be. But as you can see how I do it. Kind of a lot of work, but gets it done. Not as easy as a mill or a lathe. It's at least 5 times as precise as doing it with a mechanical machine if you do it with your hands. That's a complete lie, don't believe that. I think I got it pretty close. It's high spots in the corners like always. So I'm gonna get that down with the sanding paper like this. I just want to get it so it all looks like this. See how it's big scratches but not gouges? This is gouging. This is sandpaper scratching. I want to get it all to look like that. Continue on, Johnny! Okay guys, we're almost there. It's hard to see it, I don't know if you'll catch it, but right there is that last line running from the bore to the outside. We're good to go, we're good to stop. Let's switch out papers, on to the next one. The next one up is a 150. First couple strokes, you feel it moves pretty easily. We pick it up instantly, we look, and we see instantly, I can see already all the big scarring is coming out. Even the ones that are here are already lighter. The very middle of this one's starting to fade. I don't know if you guys can even pick that up with the lighting, but there's a big scratch right there from the sandpaper, and the middle's already starting to go away. The only big gouging we have is on the very edges. Like I said, we do not care. We're going to the next one. Okay, we got 220 down. Okay, you can instantly see the higher shine pretty evenly. That is about top dead right there. And you can see it, and I still got to put the skim coat of ultra gray on it. So you see what I'm looking for. So that comes up. Now you see why the length of the spark plug threads is so important, because the piston is going to go up inside of the head more. So this goes up. So normally the piston is flat, okay? And you have it about where this is right now, okay? That's where you would normally have it, maybe a hair lower. But because it's a pop-up, I can go higher and push, even though it doesn't look like a lot. But when you're squeezing that all up into the top of this domed head, that is a lot of space and a lot more compression you're now making inside of the head on your compression stroke. Gonna be more compression for more boom, bang, boom. This is just about perfect. I cannot wait to start this thing up and try it. I am really stoked. Anyway, let's do the head. All right, guys, so I've got a plan. Whether it's a good plan, I don't know, but it's a plan. Most motors have a squish band. The 50cc does not. I don't know if all 50s are like that. This 50 is like that. So what I'm gonna do is make one by hand. The piston comes to about there in the head, or it would come to about there in the head if it was no clearance and whatnot. The squish at the present moment is about there. So you see how it comes to a point right there, guys? Like it's squished. That was the actual part that was on the head. There's the part that was against the piston. See how it's smoother? The part that was against the head is like rippled and bumpy. That's because the head is cast and the piston was machined. I ground it down. But you see, this was the pinch right there, right where my nail is, how thin it is. That was right up against the cylinder wall, and that was the piston to this. So you see how far it goes in. So it comes in to, you know, and I saw because I had grease on it too to hold it in place. It was about there, you know, that's where it would go. So what I'm thinking is if I grind all this down, basically level with the combustion chamber down to about here, which ends up being about the thickness of this if I was to grind this down, but I don't know if I will or not. I'm debating because I want to be able to get the combustion chamber, in essence, I want it to kind of shrink, and I want to get higher compression in the head, and I also want to be able to have a nice squish. So that is my goal and what I'm going to try to do. If I ruin it, I don't know, but we're going to try, and I'm going to do it with this. All around it, okay? Now you know. I don't know if I can give you guys a good shot of what I'm doing here, to be honest. Now I hit it here. I'm not too worried about hitting here, to be honest, because I still have to bring this down, but you see the basic idea of what I'm going for. I'm basically just gonna put a ledge and then I'm going to grind it down flat. All right guys, that's all you're gonna get. I'll let you know how it goes. See, it's getting there. It's not easy to do, honestly. It's hard to keep your hands steady and level and all this other stuff, but it's getting there. I'm not taking a lot, I just want a little shelf. I'm not trying to really go in. I want to keep the combustion chamber the same size, but I do want to make a tiny little shelf that my piston can kind of squish up against. Ah, and it broke again. Dang it. Well, you get the main idea how we're doing it.